I'm Jeff Travis, and coming up next on WVU News, I'll tell you about some rising and falling crime stats here on campus.
I'm Ann Rice, and coming up next on WVU News, I'll tell you why students and employees are competing to recycle.
Coming up on WVU News, I'm Paul Espinosa, and I'll tell you how the commercial real estate industry is bouncing back here in Morgantown. WVU News starts now.
Drug users may want to think twice about getting their fix on campus as university police are cracking down. I'm Paul Espinosa.
While other arrests are down this year, those related to drugs have grown dramatically. I'm Marissa Statler, and you're watching WVU News, a newscast produced by journalism students right here at West Virginia University. A recent report shows that WVU is much safer than in previous years, but that same report also says drug-related arrests are increasing on campus.
That's right, Marissa. We have all the stats from the latest report, and our crime reporter Jeff Travis joins us with the story. Jeff?
Marissa, Paul, thanks. Since 2007, West Virginia University Police have released the Cleary Report, which compiles annual campus crime stats. I spoke with University Police to find out why drugs have become so prominent here on campus. On any college campus, student safety is always a top priority. The Federal Clery Act requires university police to release annual statistics on campus-related crimes. These numbers show that drug arrests on WVU have been on the rise.
The trend has been kind of upward over the last 3 years. Last year was a very busy year for us.
Typically, the majority of these drug arrests are marijuana-related. One WVU student who chose to remain anonymous was involved in a drug bust last year.
Dealing marijuana around here is extremely easy because there's a huge market for it. There's tons of people in a small area. It seems like everyone has an appetite for it.
Although drug-related arrests have increased by over 80% over the last 2 years, other crimes such as destruction of property, burglary, and assault have dramatically decreased. But WVU Police Chief Bob Roberts says that on-campus drug use is becoming more common.
It seems like drugs are becoming more prevalent in our community.
In 2007, there were 115 drug arrests on campus. In 2008, 125. This past year in 2009, there were 233, and already in 2010, there have been more than 300 drug arrests. However, Chief Roberts hopes that the Cleary Report will encourage students to stay out of trouble.
We think that it's important that you, the students, and your parents see that data so that you can make an intelligent decision.
In addition, university police say they will continue to look for new ways to combat drug use on campus. To see the Cleary Report for yourself, you can visit the website at the bottom of your screen. Paul, back to you.
Thanks, Jeff. If you were rewarded for tossing your scrap paper in the recycling bin, would you do it? Or how about unplugging electronics when they aren't in use? Campus reporter Ann Rice has more on an effort to conserve at WVU.
The 4th annual Eco Olympics at WVU kicked off on October 4th. Students and university employees are being asked to see just how much they can recycle and conserve in 4 weeks. A resident of Brook Tower, Nick Wazelin, says they are really encouraging the students to get involved.
We've been promoting the Eco Olympics competition by turning off the lights, recycling. We set up these paper recyclable containers on the floors, turning off the water when we're not using it, stuff like that.
The Eco Olympics opening ceremony was held in the mountain layer. WVU's recycling coordinator, Barbara Angeletti, encouraged students to come and earn points for their dorm by playing games and filling out surveys.
Last year, every year actually, the winning residence hall manages to reduce its energy consumption by about 25%. And we've asked them if it was a major sacrifice on their part, and basically they tell us no. They just remembered to turn things off when they weren't using them.
Students and employees can help make WVU more eco-friendly by recycling and turning off the light. The 2009 winners of the Eco Olympics were Summit Hall and the Communications Building. In last year's competition, the university recycled more than 32 tons of paper, plastic, and aluminum. This year's winners will be rewarded with a prize of their choice. Throughout the month of October, there will be several events for students to earn extra points by recycling and conserving energy. Ann Rice, WVU News, Morgantown.
While the university is competing to conserve, the city of Morgantown is competing for an internet connection boost. WVU reporter Matthew Pack has an update.
The Morgantown Public Library offers free internet to the public, but that may be outdated. Ellen Hathaway works at the library. She says that fiber optics is being considered.
We opened up offering internet with a T1 line, and that's pretty much what we've always had. We have thought about doing fiber optic. I know that's been kicked around at the state level too.
Last March, Morgantown applied for Google's high-speed broadband experiment. If accepted, the experiment will bring faster internet to town. Jeff McCorsky is the interim city manager. He says that Google is still processing the papers.
My understanding is that they're going through the applications, making recommendations internally to Google, and they're going to shortlist communities.
If Morgantown is accepted, it would help business, residents, and the city with faster communication. Some sites have internet speed checks which tell you how fast your internet is. My internet is running at 1.4 megabytes per second, but if Google accepts Morgantown, then the internet will be running at 1 gigabyte per second. The city is still waiting to hear from Google. If accepted, the faster broadband could bring more companies to the city.
So we'd be excited to see what type of opportunities, or what type of companies would be interested in utilizing it, and the different applications, how people would actually use that type of bandwidth.
Even if Google does not come to town, the public library will still continue to have slower but free internet access to the public. Matthew Peck, WVU News, Morgantown.
Morgantown's commercial real estate industry may be picking up in addition to its internet speed. The real estate market was one of the hardest hit in the nation's economy, but I recently found out how one business is getting back on track. This phone probably wasn't ringing this time last year. Bob Campbell is a commercial real estate specialist for Petropolis Lane. He says the phone calls are coming more frequently now.
The phones have started to ring again a little bit in 2010.
And the people on the other end of the line?
I have all the loads written down except for what he did that last Saturday. But
are people like Paul Panson. Panson is the president of LPG Land and Development Corporation and founder of the Monfayette Industrial Park. He says Petropolis Lane helped get the park off to a fast start.
The realtor actually brought some people in from Texas, and they looked over the building, were walking around, and they said, well, we'll take it. And I kind of was in question about how, what do you want to take? They said, we want the whole thing.
The Monfayette Industrial Park started as 60 acres of forest. Now it's turning into a hotspot for the oil industry here in West Virginia. And as the commercial real estate market continues to rebound, you can expect a whole lot more action to be going on back there. Campbell says the commercial real estate industry is still on its way back to normal, but he says that won't happen unless businesses start spending money.
And a lot of these corporations are hoarding cash. They're holding it because they don't know. We need them to be bullish.
And the corporations at the industrial park have been just that. Campbell says that the real estate market was never booming here in Morgantown like it was in Florida or California, and that's ultimately what protected the Morgantown market. As the real estate market is recovering, it may be a sign that the rest of the economy will soon follow suit.
The people of Morgantown work hard every day to create a strong local economy. Some tend to play just as hard when it comes to sports like paintball. But what makes this sport so popular here? Players enjoy the challenge and strategy that comes with a paint fight. In fact, paintball has grown into the third largest alternative sport in the country since the 70s. But it's so popular here that businesses are dedicated solely to paintball supplies. Players like John Taylor even build their own courses on their property.
We build a bunch of bases and stuff in our woods and everything to play with forts and everything. But other than that, we go to friends' houses that have backyard woods and just go up in there and pick some spots to play in and go at it.
If you haven't played paintball before, remember to stay hydrated, never shoot someone from less than 3 feet away, and always wear face and eye protection. For a list of paintball fields and stores, visit the website at the bottom of your screen. You know, Paul, no matter how popular paintball is, I don't think you'll see me covered in paint this weekend.
Well, you'll know next week if on the newscast, if I have a big paint splatter on my face, you'll know my curiosity got the best of me. Coming up next on WVU News, we'll look at one athlete who has grown her water legs.
I'm Paul King. Coming up next on WVU News, I'll tell you how one student athlete's gone from land to water.
WVU, West Virginia's window to the world.
The WVU rowing team began their fall season last week, and for the second year, they have an athlete that was recruited to run, but instead learned how to paddle.
That's right, Marissa. It was sink or swim for this WVU rower who intended to beat the competition with her legs, but now she does it with her arms. WVU News sports reporter Paul King joins us with the story. Paul?
Thanks, Paul and Marissa. The WVU rowing team is competing in yet another fall season, and one female athlete is making great strides on the water in just her second year on the team. She's made a remarkable transition between two completely different sports. Shannon Gribbins is competing on the women's varsity rowing team at WVU for her second year in a row. She came from Ontario, Canada to WVU on a track and cross country scholarship, but never had the chance to race in an actual event or meet.
Well, it's been hard. It definitely hasn't been easy. At first it was definitely hard. It's getting easier now, though, that I'm getting a bit more used to it, but it's still a struggle.
Gribbins didn't run during the fall of her freshman year because of leg injuries and went through over a year of rehab. WVU women's track coach Sean Cleary went to Gribbins and rowing coach Jimmy King with an idea, and that was to give rowing a try.
I spent a week with her on the erg, teaching her the basic rowing stroke, and then at the end of the week, invited her to join the novice squad. And very fortunately for us, and I think for her, she liked it enough to accept the offer.
Shannon went from spending her time on the track to spending her days here on the water, racing and training. Gribbins says that she liked the idea and went through with it, but with a little bit of extra help.
Without my friends and my family and coaches and roommates and everything, I wouldn't have been able to do it because it wasn't an easy transition for me.
The chemical engineering major works just as hard off the water as she does on it. She's been named a National Scholar Athlete and the team's Iron Mountaineer. Other members of the rowing team, like Rachel Viclianco, says Gribbins gives something special to the team.
She serves as a motivation to the entire team. I mean, she's just that constant positivity that she emits. It's contagious.
Gribbins still has 2 years of eligibility left as a member of the rowing team and is making her splash at WVU. Gribbins was in the A boat that took the gold in the Open 8 race at the head of the Ohio Regatta on October 8th. The team will be back in action on October 30th as they head to Philadelphia for another race. Marissa, Paul, back to you.
Thanks, Paul. It's quite the feat to be able to switch sports because it's tough enough to be able to just train for one.
You're right, Paul. I mean, playing one sport at the college level is a lot to ask for, but it really inspired me to give rowing a try.
I tell you, I'm friends with a couple people on the rowing team, and they said you would be amazed at how much of a workout it really is. So, definitely big props to the rowing team. Well, that's all this week for WVU News. Remember to visit us online at itunes.wvu.edu. I'm Paul Espinosa.
And I'm Marissa Statler. You can also watch any of our shows on YouTube at youtube.com/WestVirginiaU. Thanks for watching.